Dom, and I'm back with another segment of Talking Oscars. And this week, we're going to talk about Best Actress. And I've got my very special guest, Alex Howard from the Dark Room podcast. Say hi,
Hey,
Alex.
what's up, guys? Yeah,
And
this category is crazy.
yeah, it's absolutely nuts. This is he personally requested Best Actress. Because I think he just wanted to stress himself out over trying to figure out which five go into this category because this is by no means a locked race.
No.
This could very much change. This is the category last year where everybody thought everything was going a certain way, and last year suddenly Andrea Riseborough and Ana de Armas ended up in the category, and everybody was like, "What just happened?" So,
Yeah.
yeah. And last year felt a lot more solid than this year, and it still threw two curveballs at us. And the previous year, I believe, was when Penelope Cruz snuck into the category. All of a sudden, she was like, "Hey guys, what's up? I'm here. I'm here now. I know nobody was projecting me, but I'm here. So who knows? Uh, who knows? So if you're a Tiana Taylor fan, don't lose hope yet. There's always hope. All right, so Alex, what is your number one pick? Who do you have
Okay,
on top for Best Actress?
my number one and number two are people I would love to see win, but obviously they can't give out two Oscars. So my number one is Annette Bening for Nyad. I thought she was amazing. I actually just found out that Annette Bening and Allison Janney are not the same person. So I was getting them
You
mixed
just
up
found that
for
out. Wow.
years. Yeah, I was getting them mixed up for years, and I was like, "Wasn't she in I, Tonya?" And I was like, "Oh no, that was somebody else." So I think it's really cool actually that Annette Bening has. So in the movie, she tried 4 times, right, and succeeded the fifth, and then she's been nominated 4 times but never won. So I'm like,
Yeah.
this could be her fifth. This could be her fifth time and win, just like in the movie. I think it's great. She was great in the movie. I think she totally deserves it. So yeah, she's my number one.
In like my heart of hearts, Annette Bening is my number one. I just don't think they're gonna pick her. Like, I would love to see them pick Annette Bening for the very reason that she should already be here. Like, if we can go back and rewrite the Oscars, I would flip her with Hilary Swank. I don't know that Hilary Swank needs two Oscars, and we could have had her uh, Annette Bening already win for American Beauty, but because Hillary's performance in Million Dollar Baby is still phenomenal, and then they would have each had an Oscar instead of Hillary beating Annette both times. I actually have Annette Bening in my honorable mentions.
Really?
And yeah, that's really hard for me because for a while I was where you were and I thought she was gonna win. Um, and
What
then the
changed
movie
your?
kind
Because we
of
haven't had any shows. So what changed your opinion?
the the movie kind of hit and like kind of just like a little silent fart just kind of got let out and then nobody noticed it and it just went away.
Well, I think that's a
And
Netflix problem.
I think that is a Netflix, but Netflix has a ton of other films that they're campaigning, and they have other actresses in this race. So who do they push for? Do they push for, there's a reason why they put Nyad before May December and before Maestro on their release calendar, and
And
I
Rustin
think they're
and
positioning the films with their bet with stronger Best Actress contenders. Uh,
did you watched
later
it,
in the
right?
season. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I thought it was great, and I love the parallel. I actually didn't even realize that the 4 times because I thought she was incredible, and I would absolutely put her in the race if it was my vote. But she's actually my number 7 in this
So that's
race.
wow. So that's the thing. Okay, so we have time because last time we talked about 10, now we talked about 5. So we can debate a little bit. But like you don't think that performance will stick with people?
I don't know that Nyad will stick with people. I fear that Naiad ends up becoming something like The Woman King or Till, where it's sort of like in Oscar season the whole
I
time,
wanted
and then it just doesn't get any nominations.
I wanted those
And
nominations so bad last year.
yeah, I mean there are so many cases of films where people could have been nominated, should have been nominated. The film should have been picked for something along the way, and then it just doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm worried that Netflix has too much product, and that this film with a very polarizing central figure, Diana Nyad is not doing herself any favors winning over the LGBT community with her stance on transgender athletes. So I'm not entirely sure that even though she is a member of the community, that her vocal opposition in certain areas is necessarily going to help this film. I
Mhm.
think she's the best thing they could do is to stop interviewing Diana Nyad, the real person, and
Yeah.
let Annette Bening just go out and speak. Um, but yeah, I would love to see Annette Bening, and this is a weird category, and like a week from now, I might feel Annette Bening again.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
went through the same about this time in October. I was all about All Quiet on the Western Front, and I was like, I don't know how this film couldn't get nominated. And then it seemed like nobody was talking about it, and I kind of dropped it out. And I had it in my at Gold Derby. I had it in my best picture at a 1 to 100 odd. And if I had left it there, I would have like scored, you know, huge points. But I took it out because I was like, no, nobody's talking about this film. And then all of a sudden, everybody resurged with All Quiet
After the
on the
fact,
Western Front. So it's totally possible that Naiad could just like in January they could be like, by the way, Annette Bening is in Naiad. I don't know if you know
yeah.
that, but
I'm kind
she
of
could
doing
come
this
back. I don't
category.
know,
I'm
but
kind of doing it based on my heart, and she totally deserves this nomination at this point, a win, I think. But yeah.
this is a category that consistently disappoints me, and always I feel like never. I mean, Lady Gaga should have been in here before. I don't know what's happening in the Best Actress race. Danielle Detweiler. I still feel
Oh
like the
yeah.
Academy just owes Danielle Detweiler an apology.
She should have
I'm
won last year,
just
I think.
like just uh, so yeah. So
Yeah.
I've learned with this category. Just if I like it, it's probably not going to get nominated. So Annette Bening is in my honorable mentions. But
Okay, so
anyway,
what's your number one then?
my number one, I went with most likely to be nominated because actually the person that I have in my number two spot is the one that I think might actually win this year. This person
Hmm.
has, I will say, and I'll fight any, I'm going to fight all of the Oscar predictors on the internet on this one. Has no shot of winning, but has every shot in the world of being nominated. I think this person is the closest to being a lock, and that's Emma Stone for Poor Things.
Okay.
Everything I've heard about her performance leads me to indicate that she absolutely will win. She is really young for a second Oscar win, and you have so many people in this category who have not won. They've never been nominated. They're chasing that thing that the really like between her and like Natalie Portman are like the only two people who have won before that are kind of chasing an Oscar right now, potential second Oscar win. And I cannot imagine Oscar voters, even if she was the best actress performance by like a mile, I still think she'd still lose. Because
Yeah.
not always is it the best performance that wins. A lot of times you look at somebody and you're like, oh, this person's been around for a while. They really deserve this Oscar. Or, oh, this was a great breakthrough performance from a rising star. We'll give this to her. It's not actually always about who the best performance is. But I do think that there's no way that Poor Things can happen without Emma Stone. So I think she's a lock for. I put her in first place because she's the closest thing that I can think of to a lock in this category for a nomination. So
Yeah. I have not seen it, um, but I agree with you. She's my number three, just because I haven't seen it.
yeah,
But I agree with you that I don't see a world where she actually wins because she's won before. There are other people that are due, like Annette Bening. So I don't see a world where she wins, but definitely she'll be nominated.
yeah, it's too tight of a year for her to win. Um, a second Oscar. I can't fathom that world uh, in which she's somehow manages to be the winner of the category. So
Yeah.
anyway, so what's your number two?
So my number two is Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. Obviously, she's great in that movie. I think is she going for lead? She could go for supporting too.
She
I
is
think she's
going for lead.
okay.
And
Yeah.
yes.
So I think she's great in the movie. I think the scene where I guess we don't want to do spoilers here, do we?
Nah,
Have you seen it or no?
I have not seen Killers. No,
Okay.
but I mean, I don't spoilers don't bother me. First of all, it's based on a true story, and there's a book. So I mean, I've had plenty of opportunity to know what this thing is about.
She has a couple of those scenes where it's like, oh, that's an Oscar scene. Like, she's for sure getting in on this nomination at least.
Yeah. I actually don't have her in my top five. I actually have her at number 6. I had her at number 5, and literally before we did this list, I flipped her with my 6th place and put her in 6th. I think last year Michelle Williams did the same thing, where all of a sudden she was like, "Guess what, guys? I'm lead," and it worked out. And I don't know that it's going to work out every time, where the person who's currently seen as the front runner for Best Supporting Actress just suddenly decides to run lead, and ends up just working out. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't win. It's not like Michelle won. I mean, like, what did she really accomplish by doing that? She went from potentially winning supporting actress and getting her Oscar to achieving yet another Oscar nomination when she already has multiple under her belt. I don't really think that she achieved much by doing that. Lily Gladstone is going for, first Indigenous actress nomination.
That's why I think
in a leading category, and I think that's great. Representation matters, but this is a category that within the last 10 years we just had that hashtag Oscars so white, and we're still trying to make up for that. And last year with the omission of Danielle Detweiler, Viola Davis, I think, I don't know. I don't know that the people are going to be there. She is kind of a breakthrough performer in a film that is getting kind of like, it did okay at the box office. Didn't really, Apple didn't win any huge box office prizes with this film by waiting to put it in theaters. And I hear she disappears for a large chunk of the film, which is what's bothering a lot of people who are anti her being in lead. If she vote splits and people vote for her, a lot of people vote for her in lead, and a lot of people vote for her as supporting actress. These categories are really tight. She could end up. I mean, it could come down to just a couple votes. So she could be just a couple votes shy of missing out on the category.
Okay, so is that how this works? Like, if she's going for lead, isn't she only qualified for lead, or can she pick, or do they write in?
No, they can pick which they do not have to follow. Your campaign is your campaign. Now there are some categories where the branch votes. For example, on screenplay, they vote on whether or not your screenplay is considered to be original or whether it has to be adapted, and then they vote on, for example, whether or not your score has enough to be considered to be original score. But for the performances, for example, Lakeith Stanfield was campaigned for lead actor for Judas and the Black Messiah, but the Oscar voters, in their infinite wisdom, decided that there were no lead actors in Judas and the Black Messiah, and that both actors were supported.
Okay.
Bizarre. And then they also, the same year that Kate Winslet, for The Reader, she was also campaigning for Revolutionary Road, and she was campaigning for Revolutionary Road in lead and The Reader in supporting, and they voted for her for The Reader in lead, because you can't campaign in the same category. You can only have one film. You can't be double nominated. She wouldn't have been able to be nominated for both Revolutionary Road and The Reader. So, so that becomes sort of the That's a little bit of the thing
Yeah.
there. She could end up slipping back to supporting actress whether she likes it or not.
I really
Um,
think she's gonna get in. I think one, she has a great performance, but two, I think it'd be huge for them to do the first Indigenous persons to be nominated for
I've
lead
got her at
actor.
number 6 because I think the fact that she was out there on the picket lines really helped her. She's got this weird Gotham Award nomination for a film nobody's ever heard of or seen before, which
Okay.
is great because maybe that's another film that's going to be on somebody's radar this time around. That there's a little indie film out there that she was also in this year. So if screeners are being passed around for that, that's a second
Do you know what
performance
that's
that really
called?
that could. I don't even remember, but it's not Killers. It's something else that she was in that she got a Gotham nomination for. But I do think that I think she has a shot. I mean, she just like literally she went from 5 to 6 today. I just
Okay.
flipped it. I read an interesting statistic about my number 6, and I flipped it to number 5. And I have Lily Gladstone currently at 6. She could flip to number 3 next week. I don't know. This category is like to me is so close
Yeah.
that every vote really truly counts in this
So
race.
who?
I don't think that there's a clear like I don't think anybody's taking this race right now.
So
So
who is your number two then?
my number 2 is actually Carrie Mulligan for Maestro.
Okay.
Carrie is twice nominated, never won. And I think there's a possibility that if we're following narratives, the idea of giving it to Carrie Mulligan for Maestro is not unheard of. She
She's
also
only
has
been
the
nominated
benefit.
twice.
She's only been nominated twice. She's been nominated for An Education, and she was nominated again for Promising Young Woman. So she only has 2 nominations. It's shocking, right? It feels like she's
Yeah.
had more,
I would have thought
but
Blue Valentine or yeah.
she's actually been snubbed a couple times for things like The Great Gatsby and last year for She Said when they decided to run her as supporting actress. So Carrie, I think possibly could end up winning for this performance. There's a little bit of a question as to whether or not she's lead or supporting because she's not in the first chunk of Maestro. But the understanding is that once she's in, and the movie kind of even somewhat becomes about her, um, where she becomes sort of the central focus and it becomes about her relationship with Leonard Bernstein. So if that's true, I think she has the makings of being able to convince people that it's her time. She's young. Um, she still could reasonably be considered an ingenue. So it has all of the trappings of being able to win this race, and that's why I have Carrie at number 2. She's also in Saltburn. So when people are watching screeners this year, I hear she's quite good. She's only in a little bit of Saltburn, but I hear she's good in that. So it helps to be seen in another solid Oscar film.
I have her at number 5 for me. I think
Okay.
I couldn't. I haven't seen Poor Things and I haven't seen Maestro. Those are the only two in my top 5 that I haven't seen. But I'm like I couldn't put them above 3 and 5 because I haven't seen them.
Sure.
So yeah.
Okay.
So my number
So
4
yeah.
is Sandra Huller for Anatomy of a Fall, which I know is kind of a long shot, but I want her to get in so bad. She's so good in this movie. This movie is like one of my favorites of the year. It's she has so many scenes. It's like I describe it as like almost like Marriage Story, so many like argument scenes, but then she pulls you in different directions of like you don't know if she did it or not. She's so good in this movie, and this might be a from my heart pick, but I want her to be nominated so bad.
Yeah, actually she's my number 3. I actually feel pretty solid about Sandra Huller's nomination. Um, this category has been very kind to making sure that an international actress gets nominated. There are many years where there's an international nominee in the race, and they don't always win, but every once in a while you get something like Marianne Cotillard for La Vie en Rose, and I think Sandra Hüller. the fact that she's also in Zone of Interest.
Yeah.
I think that helps her visibility.
Is that
I think
is that France's Oscar international submission? Zone of Interest?
No, I don't think either of these are ended up getting international submissions. And
I
Zone
know
of
Anatomy
Interest,
isn't.
yeah, I think Zone of Interest is would qualify UK. I think Jonathan Glazer's from the UK, so
Okay.
I think it would have qualified that way as sort of like a weird production where the whole thing is in a non. It's an international film to us, and it's not in the English language, but it's being directed by I think that's where that is, but I'm not 100% sure. But I don't think either film has been selected for the international race, which is really weird.
I would also like to see. I'm sorry, I don't know the actor's name. The blind kid from Anatomy of a Fall. I would love to see him be nominated too, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, probably not. I think
they've
made this film all about Sandra Hüller, and the fact that it's got a shot at Best Picture nomination, I think, has a lot to do with Sandra Hüller and a little bit with Justin Triet for the direction and the screenplay. And it comes along with the package. It's a Palme d'Or winner. Neon's backing it. I think they've got a pretty solid shot here of getting Sandra into the race. So, yeah, I've got her 3. I think it's a safe bet.
Have you seen it?
I have not. I will see it hopefully shortly, hopefully soon. I've noticed it's got like a pre-sale thing that's up on VOD, which means it should drop pretty soon. So, but
so what is your next one then?
My number 4. I guess we're at number 4 now for me. My number 4 is Fantasia Barrino for The Color Purple. I'm sticking with it. I know it's still sight unseen. I noticed that they are, while we're doing this, Deadline is doing their contenders, and they're still taking The Color Purple around, and Fantasia is there with Blitz Bazul, and they're campaigning for The Color Purple, which no one has seen. And it concerns me that nobody's seen it, because I would have thought that AFI Fest would have been at least a solid place for its premiere. But then again, nobody's also seen The Boys in the Boat is also still being held. I don't think anybody's seen that. Still waiting on that. I just, unless Blitz is just a god-awful director to the point where, like, he just gets banned from the industry after directing this film, I don't see how Fantasia doesn't get nominated. I think Oprah could have picked anybody, and she picked Fantasia. She invited Fantasia back to be Best Actress, which is, there must be something about her performance when she was on stage, because her on-camera experience has not been great. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a lot like when Jennifer Hudson was in Dreamgirls and she's saying, "And I'm telling you," when Fantasia Barrino sings "I'm Here," I think that's what gets her the nomination. I think it'll just happen. People will listen to that over and over. It'll be played over and over. And like I said, unless Blitz just is the worst director to have ever hit anything ever, then I don't know how they can screw this movie up. It's adapted from Alice Walker's classic novel that was nominated for 12 Academy Awards when Steven Spielberg directed it. Both Broadway productions have won Tony Awards. If this guy screws this production up, he may not be alive. Like, Oprah Winfrey may just like rendition him and like bury him in her backyard. Like, I've been thinking about this because everybody's like, "Well, we haven't seen The Color Purple," and I'm like, you know what? I feel like Oprah Winfrey probably has, and Blitz Bazul is still alive. So one of two things happened: either the film is good, or I don't know. Oprah Winfrey just doesn't know what's good anymore. She's still producing, she's still putting her name on this, and I think Fantasia is going to get nominated. So I'm sticking with it.
She is my number 7 honorable mention. I think I
Totally
haven't seen
valid.
it, obviously, but I also think the fact that no one has seen it is kind of scary. Like, okay, to be fair, I know nothing about. I've never seen the play. I've never seen the original movie. I've never read it.
Yeah.
I I've heard of it, and that's it. So I am excited to see it, but I'm like the fact that they hadn't premiered at any festivals, that nothing at AFI, no one is. They've had buzz for Poor Things for a long time. Um, I don't know. So like I don't feel comfortable putting her on my list until I see it.
Yeah, the benefit is that if it's the last thing that comes in at the end of the race, though, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm hoping. My fingers crossed, is that it's like the last thing to pop. It pops late. It pops a little bit like After Sun. After Sun kind of came in right at the end of the race last year. It didn't
I think I
sweep the
saw that in November.
nominations, but it did manage to get into the Best Actor race. So yeah.
I thought I saw that in like early November last year, like in the theater. But I don't know. I think it popped on streaming late. But yeah,
I
I was
think
kind
uh, I think it popped in December.
of okay,
I think
maybe.
it came out in December, and then it had its loyal fan following that just kept talking about it,
Yeah,
and it slowly grew into something. So it was one of the later pops, though. It kind of came in
did we
pretty
do your
late.
number 5 or no?
My number 5 is what I switched in is Kaylee Spaney from Priscilla. I didn't think I was gonna
Nice.
do it. I didn't think I was gonna do it.
She's
Um,
great in that movie.
I thought, yeah, she's. The thing is, I was against the statistic about her winning the Venice Trophy because I don't think she would have won the trophy if Emma Stone was eligible. But I Priscilla uh, became Sofia Coppola's second highest grossing film behind Lost in Translation. So, and it's still going. I mean, it's already outgrossed like everything else she's ever made except Lost in Translation.
Which is
So,
funny.
and
That's
it's
the only other
it's
movie I've
there
seen of
are
hers
there are a
besides
lot of
Lost in
people that are
Translation.
really passionate about Priscilla. They're passionate about Kaylee Spaney's performance. They're passionate about. This is surprising me. It feels like Priscilla. I didn't think we could do it Elvis and then a Priscilla, but it looks like we can. So I think Kaylee Spaney may end up surprising and sneaking in over Lily Gladstone because once again, Oscar's so white. I think that's why I think Lily Gladstone may end up losing her nomination is to keep that horrific statistic going that we are not diverse enough in this in this race.
That is a
So
hot take. I
there's a hot take. I picked four white ladies and one black female, and that feels pretty solid for
so
Oscar
I
statistics.
I completely agree with you. Well, not about her getting nominated, but I think she gave a great performance. I love the movie. It's actually the only Sofia Coppola movie I've seen besides Lost in Translation, and
Yeah,
I really liked her style and everything. Um, I I do think Lily Gladstone's gonna get in there, but so yeah, I have her at my number 8. No, my number 9, I think, actually, for honorable mentions. Just because I think that this category is so stacked this year. It's crazy.
if if there was still a strike, I wouldn't even touch her. I wouldn't even touch Kaylee Spaney because she's so unknown that if she
Yeah.
can't do interviews, she would have been out. Done. Rest in peace, Kaylee Spaney. But the fact that she's now available to do interviews and promote the film and campaign for her Oscar nomination, I think it puts her back in the game. But if
There
there hadn't
also
been the
is
strike, I would have totally never put her in the top 5.
there also is some backlash from the obviously Elvis family about the movie,
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
I saw even Lisa Marie had made a comment before she passed
yeah.
about attacking Sofia Coppola's script as being presenting her father as a predator.
Oh, it
So
certainly doesn't make him look good. The movie's good,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make Elvis look good.
Yep. But then again, I don't think Blonde necessarily did a lot for,
No, it
Marilyn
didn't.
Monroe's image, and it got Ana de Armas a nomination. So maybe we like these versions of people that we see. So anyway, so I think, did we hit your on? Did I hit your like all your honorable mentions?
No, I have two that we haven't talked about.
Okay.
So my first one is Margot Robbie for Barbie. I At first, if you had asked me a couple weeks ago, I would have said she's a lock. I actually took her out of my gold derby because there's so many other stronger performances. And although she was really good in Barbie, I think it's a comedic performance more than a dramatic performance. And this category is just so crowded, and I don't see them picking another white woman for a slot. Like they're really trying to get away from Oscar so white. I don't. I think Ryan Gosling will get in. I don't think Margot Robbie will get in.
I have her in 8th. I think it's a shame that Ryan Gosling is getting more attention than Margot Robbie, just because Margot was the one who was kind of pushing for this whole thing to happen in the first place. Luckily, she's attached as a producer, so she'll get a nomination when it gets nominated for in picture. But I think Barbie is this year's Top Gun Maverick. If you listen to all the people who are talking about it, everybody keeps talking about, oh, look at all the money it made. Look at how much money it made at the box office. It's a box office sensation. The box office sensation films don't do well in acting categories. Top Gun Maverick didn't get any acting nominations. Avatar's never been nominated with an acting Oscar. The first Black Panther came in with a ton of nominations. None of them were acting. Dune has no acting nominations. It doesn't pay to be the box office hit nominee of the year. It doesn't pay to be the one that's made over $1 billion at the box office, and to use that as your reasoning for getting in.
Well, there's
since it's outgrossed Oppenheimer. So I think if Barbie is seen as being the populist vote here, I'm not sure it'll get any acting nominations. It's a comedy also on top of it. And I see a lot of people trying to go all in and get an actress, supporting actor, and supporting actress. But I don't know. I don't feel good about it. But I wish Margot Robbie the best. I feel like she should be the one recognized. Her and Greta Gerwig are the reason why this movie even happened and even is as successful as it is. But it is a tough race.
So, I mean, I think I can separate. I think Ryan Gosling is better than Margot Robbie, but Margot Robbie was a producer and she deserves that nomination. But I don't think that translates over to her deserving a Best Actress nomination. But I also think Joaquin Phoenix, that movie made over $1 billion and he ended up winning Best Actor.
The Joker?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it made over.
It wasn't the popular movie,
Did
but
it make over $1 billion as an R-rated movie?
Yeah. It's the only one. It's the highest grossing R-rated movie ever.
All right.
But no, I think Margot Robbie is gonna miss the boat on this one, which is unfortunate because yeah, she was great in it, but it's way too crowded this year, and she'll get in for Best Picture for sure.
Yep.
What about?
I think she'd have a better shot if this was her, if she had never been nominated too. I think if she was still at this point in her career as Margot Robbie, as being as far along as she is in her career, if she still had never been nominated, I think that would help.
How many
Unfortunately, Margot and Ryan have both been nominated before, so it's not like they're pushing for their first nominations.
How many nominations does she have? Do you know?
I know she's been nominated for I, Tonya and Bombshell, so I believe 2, unless I forgot a film.
Was she nominated for Wolf of Wall Street or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
she famously missed on Babylon last year. Okay. What else do I have?
Yes.
I think the only two that we have left to talk about, at least that I think are worthy of discussing, that actually have like a little bit of a shot, are Greta Lee for Past Lives
Uh-huh.
and Natalie Portman for May December.
Uh-huh.
Those are the two that stand out to me as being, I think, still in the race.
And I have one more. You mentioned her in the beginning.
Tiana Taylor.
Yes. Oh my God, I adore 1001. I don't think she's going to get into Best Actress, but I do think she has a very strong chance of winning the Independent Spirit Award.
I think, well, it depends. I mean, it depends on Independent Spirit, and we've got strong people here. I mean, she's going to be up against, probably Greta Lee, and she's going to be up against likely Kaylee Spaney. Priscilla's probably considered to be an independent nominee, so it's not like she's going to be. It's not like she's going to be up against a bunch of scrubs for the nomination. So, yeah, but I did like Tiana Taylor. I just think I think the film it's too small. It opened in March. I don't know why they opened it so damn early. It's going to be one of those things where we had a couple films early in the year that opened, and clearly they misjudged and miscalculated. And I think that Air and Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret and Blackberry, all of them, if they had opened later, would all be still in the conversation, but they're all just going to get crushed by their release dates.
And Natalie Portman's my number 10 also. Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't know, but I hear good things.
Yep. So I don't think she'll get it, but I also am not going to totally throw Natalie Portman out of the race. If I'm rounding out my top 10, the only other person that we haven't mentioned that I think has even a remote chance is Aunjanue Ellis for Origin, and I would feel safer about Natalie Portman being in the race than Aunjanue Ellis for Origin.
So. Do you know who has Origin? What's the distributor?
That's part of the problem. Is I don't know who has Origin. I don't know when it's being released. I don't know what its release pattern is. I know people like it. I know people think it's interesting. But I feel like it's more of an achievement for Ava DuVernay. From every review I've heard or read about it, is the focus seems to be heavily on Ava DuVernay, which makes me wonder if she can break in to director and be a surprise out of nowhere nomination for directing.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. I think those are
Which ones have you? Which ones have you seen?
I've seen Annette. I've seen Greta Lee. I've seen. Trying to go back through the nominations now and think of who I even put in the list. I've seen Tiana Taylor.
Oh, Margot Robbie, obviously.
Right?
Or no?
No, I haven't seen Barbie yet. I've seen Greta Lee, and I've seen just a couple of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen other performances that I wish would show up in this list. Abby Ryder-Fortson for Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, but we don't like to talk ever about child actors at the Oscars. The fact that Jacob Tremblay couldn't get a nomination for Room has completely just I find it impossible to even think about the fact that a child actor could ever get nominated since he missed out, because he seemed like such an obvious choice at the time.
I still need to see Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret.
But Abby Ryder-Fortson is great in Are You. However, I think even with this crop of women, I don't know that she would make. Phoebe Denier would be another one. She's fantastic in Fair Play.
I agree with that.
She's not going to get nominated. Yeah. She's just that Netflix has too many films. I don't know what they're going to do with some of these films. So
I'm surprised they didn't push some of them to 2024.
Yeah, and Fair Play was, again, they chose to open it in September. it's like one of their first releases, and I don't think that that's a great sign for Fair Play for how they plan on campaigning the film. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, because it's going to end up losing the little bit of steam that it did have. So I just saw Rustin, and when I saw Rustin, it wasn't even. It's brand new, and it was behind like catalog titles. It was behind last week's Entry of the Killer. And I'm like, well, that's not good for Rustin. Like Rustin can't. It's like it's eighth on the top 10, and it's the brand new film of the week. So I don't think that that's boding well for its ability to garner a fan base that's going to talk about it.
Also, I don't know
So
what Netflix is doing. When I first opened Netflix on Friday, it said Scott Pilgrim, and then the second time I opened, it said Rustin, and I was like, "Don't you want to put that one first over?"
yeah, you would think, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what
also,
they're trying to do over there. But anyway,
yeah,
so
yeah. This is a crowded category. It'll be interesting to see how we feel about this in January once we've seen everything.
yeah, that's the thing is I want to see everything. Um, but I have to say that even if I dropped Color Purple from everything, Fantasia, that's why I stuck with her.
Yeah.
Is because I figured even if I dropped everything, if somebody told me Color Purple got one nomination, I would assume it was Fantasia. Um, just because she's the one who can really sing, and I think it's going to be the Jennifer Hudson effect, where her singing is what she's an actual singer. She's got one hell of a song that just opens up the movie, and you know it's an instant classic. And as soon as she sings it, I think that's going to be all people need to hear her sing is her do that, and I think that'll be enough to get her the votes.
Have they even released the
So
soundtrack?
no, but I mean, I'm sure there's a recording of her having done it from the live show that's still on YouTube. So it's
Hmm.
pretty incredible. Um, Sadly, she didn't get a cast album because she was a replacement cast. So
Oh, okay.
this will be her cast album.
All right. Well, we will see what happens.
Yep. All right. Well, we have completely different lists, and they're all
Yeah,
over
we
the
do.
place. And thanks for giving me challenging thoughts about some of these. And probably if we had done this tomorrow, I would have a different order.
Yeah, yeah,
This is ever evolving for me. I
yeah. I'm
really
seeing
did. I
Saltburn
switched Kelly
tomorrow.
Spaney. I read the box office report for this weekend, and when I saw that Priscilla was doing as well as it was, plus I had seen so much love for it online, I was like, I feel like Priscilla has upward momentum, and I
Hmm.
can't ignore it by continuing to act like she has no shot at being nominated.
Yeah,
So I figured I'd just go ahead and acknowledge her by letting her have some time in the top 5. I don't know if she'll stay there, but it feels like
yeah,
she's top 5 right now. So anyway,
yeah. We will see. This is definitely one of
we'll
the
see.
most competitive categories this year.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been fun, and make sure you guys check out the Dark Room podcast. Subscribe on the platforms where you do your casting. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll get notified when we go live with these talking Oscar segments. I'm trying to do one per week, and we'll have Alex back with another category. I'm sure he'll request something equally challenging for
Yeah,
next time around. So,
yeah.
any
Check out the
final,
podcast.
any last words?
Yeah, check out the Dark Room. We just did an interview with Michelle Spitz, who's a narrator, and she gives grants for description. And in a couple weeks, we'll have an interview with Ashley Eakin, who is a disabled film director, and she has used some of the grants that Michelle has given out. So she is a filmmaker who has done audio description. So we thought that'd be cool to talk to someone from that perspective.
Fantastic. That is what we're trying to do. We got 2 blind/visually impaired critics here trying to talk about film and audio description and all that kind of stuff and get it more in the mainstream. So give Alex a follow. And we'll see you guys on the next Talking Oscars. Thanks, Alex. And
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Until next time.
All right, see you guys later.
See you on the other side.